internet. I'm Insane Lena as well as a Canadian girl. This is Bo, who couldn't wait to jump in my arms. As soon as I put the headset on, he was like, up, 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 come on. You know the rules, Mummy. You put the headset on, that means I get cuddled. Because I've decided that that's the rule. And I'm a puppy and I won't be denied. And I'm really sleepy, but I'm trying not to sleep. Because I don't want to miss something. Because I'm basically a furry toddler. He really is. Today we have corrupt sheriff promises to destroy cop's career. I love videos of cops pulling over other cops. Anytime you see one, please send it to me.
1 in the morning on December 18th, 2024. Officers from the Urbana Police
Yes, I'm
Department
hitting you.
stopped a suspected drunk driver who was allegedly swerving between lanes and remained stopped at a green light for over 10 seconds. If they haven't already, they will soon find out that he is the active Champaign County Sheriff Matthew Melvin, ranking well above the officers pulling him over.
I think he knows. I think him going goddamn was a sign of recognition there. I'm glad he's got backup coming because I would always want that. But you don't know. You don't know how anyone's going to react. But cops are a whole other level, and there's a decent chance that they're armed.
Going to be out on Jefferson.
The initial officer is a new recruit with just over a year of experience, while the secondary officer, Sergeant Sean, has worked in the same jurisdiction for nearly 25 years alongside Matthew and is almost certainly very familiar with who he is.
How you doing tonight?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. I'm Officer Urbana Police Division. So the reason they stopped is you're kind of all over the road back there, and then you were stopped at a green light.
Right by First Circle. Yep.
Yes, sir. All right. You smell an alcoholic beverage, and there's vomit on the side of the vehicle right now.
Ew.
Yes, sir. You have a driver's license on by chance?
Yeah. Where are you with?
What was it?
Where are you with?
Urbana PD.
NRC 24, I just got a response back on your 7. RO does have CCW.
You're clear. Thank you. Get back with you, okay?
Here, the county sheriff's identification is fully verified as he presents a distinctive license for his position.
You get a special license if you're sheriff? Okay, cool, but I'm sure it doesn't entitle you to drive drunk. And he puked down the side of his car. That's kind of an indication you shouldn't be getting in the car. You are so sleepy.
Yeah, there's vomit on the side of the car.
There is.
Yeah, I mean, he's hammered.
Have him step out.
Yeah.
No mess around with it.
Okay. All right, sir, I'm have you step out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Come on, walk over here, okay? Matt, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Oh, okay.
All right.
I just want to make sure you're not grabbing something, all right?
Really?
Go over here. Oh, it's all right. Move your wings flat, okay?
Oh,
What's that?
really?
Really what? We're just going to go over here with flat, Matt. We're going to do some tests, all right?
No.
See, right there.
You know what?
What?
I said we're going to walk over here and do some tests.
No.
You stay
Okay, two things are wrong here. One, they're letting him wander around way more than they would a normal suspect. We know that. But also, he's refusing the fields because he's a cop and he knows. But the cop that's trying to make him do it is not saying, I would like you to do field sobriety tests. You have every right to refuse. Now, granted, this is a conversation between two cops. They both know the score here. They both know exactly what is going on. And the reason the cop is refusing it, every video I've ever seen, I've seen about half a dozen now, where it's a cop pulling over a cop for drunk driving. Every time the cop that is drunk and getting pulled over refuses to do any tests. And that is because, as I've said before, and on my Discord, I have a whole tab dedicated to this with videos from actual American lawyers and former American cops saying the same thing. Field sobriety tests are designed to be failed. They are designed to provide evidence that you are impaired. They are entirely subjective. Anyone who calls them scientific doesn't know what that word means. They were made up out of tricks from magic acts and mentalism and hypnotism. Some of them actually cause the very things that they are supposedly looking for, like the whole vertical nystagmus thing to see if your eye twitches. If you're following something with your eye and it moves out of your peripheral vision and you turn your head because that's an instinctual thing to do, they're going to say you're drunk. If you wobble even slightly trying to walk a straight line in a heel to toe manner, which by the way, that's what tightrope walkers do. You ever see them wobble on the tightrope? Yeah, and that's a professional. The tests are an absolute joke, and the results are whatever the officer on scene wants to say they are. They get to make up the results entirely. There have been multiple cases of people who were stone cold sober who could not pass them for various reasons. And again, there is objectively no pass. They're not designed to be passed. They're designed to be failed so the cop can say, I saw signs of impairment, and that gave me probable cause to ask for a breathalyzer test because a bunch of idiots went to court and said that a breathalyzer was an illegal search. It's not, but the court fell for their garbage argument. And that's why field sobriety tests were invented, to give probable cause to let them demand the breathalyzer test. America is the only country that uses this garbage. Every other country in the world has gotten with the technology. They have roadside breathalyzers, because also in America, you'll see people being taken to the police station to use a breathalyzer from the 1970s that is old, uncalibrated, unreliable, and doesn't work half the time. Like, those results get thrown out a lot because of things like that. But roadside breathalyzers exist. So do roadside drug tests for most drugs these days. Again, America is the only country that doesn't get with the technology and continues to do this useless nonsense. But that is why you will always see a cop refuse field sobriety tests. Number one, because they know that they're complete horseshit and they're designed to be failed, even if you're sober. And I'm betting more than likely he's going to refuse a breathalyzer too, because again, both those things exist to give evidence against yourself. That's all that they are for. And courts rely on evidence. If they don't have proof, odds are your charges will get dismissed. And a cop is going to know that, even a drunk one.
Right here. Stop right there. You got a gun with you? Don't act this way.
Don't.
Sheriff, don't.
The officers ask about his gun not just for safety. Having a gun in the vehicle while committing an OVI offense is a serious felony and could cost the county sheriff his right to carry.
We're going to do some tests. Okay?
All right. Yeah.
All right, so let's walk.
Call.
You can make a phone call.
All right.
Officers sit in silence for 10 seconds while Matthew goes through his phone.
Amazing.
Another 10 seconds drags by.
Where you want to take me?
What's that? Over here to this pavement to do some tests.
Okay.
All right. All right. You stand on over here?
Yep.
Okay. You know what?
Okay, at this point they need to stop. Like, I'm actually serious. He has told them no 3 times. He knows what he's saying. They need to stop because they cannot demand or insist that someone do field sobriety tests. You have every right to refuse them, and you should. So they've been told no 3 times. They need to stop. Because, again, you got to think ahead to a courtroom. A judge is not going to look kindly on the fact that they have been told no for a 3rd time, that he is refusing the field sobriety test. That's what they need to say at this point. They need to say, Hey, Matt, are you refusing to do field sobriety tests for me? If he says, yes, I am refusing, then you're done. You treat him like you would anyone else. And anyone else, they would have confirmed that, yes, you're refusing. Okay, then you're under arrest. Like, I get that that is hard to do. And it's like they said, one of these cops has worked with this guy for like 20 years. I get how hard that must be, but your job is your job and you still need to do it. And you need to treat him like anybody else for everybody's sake.
You guys are amazing.
Silence continues for an additional 15 seconds.
Freezing.
It's cold out.
Yeah, freezing. Ow. Thank you, Jeff.
Are you trying to call Josh Jacobs?
No.
Lieutenant Josh Jacobs reports to Matthew and is the direct commanding officer of the uniformed police
Oh.
scene. It is unclear if the call connects, and no records are currently available to confirm who Matthew is attempting to call.
He's trying to call their boss. He's trying to call their boss to tell them, like, hey, let me go. Oh, now I'm really arresting this guy.
All right, well, let's get done with that and let's go ahead and finish these tests, all right? Are you refusing to take the test? Is that what you're doing?
There we go.
Okay.
Matt, refusing to take the test?
No, I'm not refusing to do that.
All right, then let's go over here to where it's flat.
I like to go home.
Okay. We'll do this testing first to make sure you're okay to drive, man. It's strong smell of alcohol. You can't drive very well, and there's puke all down the side of your car.
I'm not puking down outside my car.
There is.
No, there's not.
Yes, there is.
There's not.
Okay. So we're going to do some tests to make sure you're safe to drive. If you're refusing to take the test, we'll be placing you under arrest for OVI.
Really?
Yes.
They're absolutely amazing.
I'm asking you to take some field sobriety test, Matt. Can you do that?
Silence goes for another 25 seconds.
All right, let's get our stuff done first here, and you can make some phone calls here in a minute, all right? What's that? All right, let's step on over here. We're going to take some field sobriety tests, all right, Matt? Are you refusing?
Really?
Are you refusing to take the test? That's what I'm asking you. Are you refusing to take the test? Yeah, I'm recording. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Silence continues for over 30 seconds.
All right, man. I'll let you make a couple phone calls, but we got to get this moving.
Okay, in what universe would they ever be letting a suspect be on the phone this much? How many times have we seen the cops take somebody's cell phone from them because they don't want them making calls right now? Sometimes that's justified, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just a cop being an asshole. In this case, it would be perfectly justified because A, this guy's already made several calls. He's already tried to call their boss to get, like, I guess to try and get him to tell them to let him go. But, like, this is ridiculous. I get that he's one of theirs and this is really awkward and really uncomfortable, but you need to treat him like everybody else, and they're not doing that right now. So these two, as much as they're being professional, and I wish to God they would treat everybody with this much kindness and this much respect and this much, time and understanding, and let's like keep things calm and at a slow pace. I wish they would treat everybody like this, but they don't. They don't treat anybody like this except for other cops. And that's what's starting to piss me off because this guy's getting special treatment now and it's crossing a line. He's refused to do the fields like 7, 8 times now. I'm done with it. Take his phone, put him in cuffs, arrest him. They would have done this with anybody else 5 minutes ago.
Moving along here. So are you going to take some field sobriety testing? We need to do the field sobriety test, all right?
No.
Are you refusing to do
There.
them?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to have to place you under arrest for OVI.
Really?
Yeah.
For what?
For driving under the influence of alcohol. You got a gun on you?
Really?
Yes. Matt, you're under arrest. Don't you resist. Don't.
Really?
Okay, he didn't answer them about the gun. I'm reluctant to go hands-on with a guy this big. Even though there's 2 of them, he's still bigger than like both of them and drunk. So I want to know, where is your gun? You're a sheriff. You definitely have one. You probably carry it. So where is your gun? Is it on your belt or it's in the truck? Like, I'm not trying to put cuffs on this guy till I know where the gun is.
Nah.
Stupid sweatshirt caught up.
You're amazing.
Thank you. Other hand, please. Other hand, please. Don't resist. He's got broad shoulders. Get rid of the set of cuffs out. I'm not trying to wind him up.
Right.
I don't think you are.
You think I am?
I said I don't think you are. Yeah, it's because there's two of them on it. Keep them like that. All right. I know you're not. I'm going to leave your knife in the truck, all right? Is that cool with you?
Yeah. With me.
And then the truck.
Yeah.
You can double lock them so they don't get tighter on you, you know.
You got the right to me and sound like, you understand that? And anything you say can be used against you in court, you understand that? You have the right to speak with an attorney before you question you. If you can't afford one, we'll give right before you buy the court. You understand those rights? You understand them? You know I'm doing my job. I know you know what I'm doing. Huh? All right, come on this way. All right, turn around. Put your butt down first. I see so hard, all right? Put your butt down first and slide in. Oops, oh, damn, dude, I'm trying to hurt your You all right? You all right, man? All right, you in? Okay. Are you okay if I move your truck, or you want me to tell her? Are you good if I park it over here?
Okay, when have you ever seen a cop offer to park somebody's car for them instead of just towing it? Like, ever. So again, he's getting special treatment and he shouldn't be. He should be treated exactly like anybody else, and anybody else, they're gonna say, like, do you have somebody that can come pick up the car? Like maybe your wife or somebody. You can call them but they can't leave the truck in the middle of the road. So odds are it gets towed. Anybody else, they tow the car.
Huh? I can move it over here and just park it over here in Bodie Circle, if you're all right with that. But you gotta give me permission to do it. If not, I'll have it towed.
Have it towed.
Man. I'd rather just park it, but you gotta tell me it's okay for me to park it.
Matthew refuses to answer the question as 10 seconds of silence goes by.
Can I park it?
Another 12 seconds of silence goes by before Matthew attempts to adjust himself in the seat.
Let's make this quicker and we can get those damn things off you. Can I just park this thing? Here's what I'm asking you.
5 seconds of silence.
Huh?
6 seconds of silence.
So no, I can't park it?
13 seconds of silence goes by before the sergeant gives up communicating with Matthew.
Mm-hmm. Yes, baby.
Jesus Christ. Nasty. God, it's disgusting. It's not in the car.
I forgot that he had puked in the car. I wouldn't be getting in that thing to drive it. Ew.
Yeah. They keep going.
Hello time. I've got you. I've got you. Rub your belly. Okay. Down goes your puppy. He needs naps.
There's vomit with a heavy smell of alcohol on the vehicle. Oh, I think I left his phone in his pocket. I wasn't really worried about it, but we need to take it out before you uncuff him. I'll meet you back there.
Okay. I'm going to be en route back to 25 with the mail 21.
Clear, 126.
The just under 3-minute ride to the station is spent in silence.
241102. 14125. All right, sir. Step on out.
You want to lean this way?
Yep.
Good. Lean this way.
think those were.
What are you talking about? I can see my finger in there, man. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're going to go over the 2255. Either way, if you're going to get charged, we're going to do fingerprints. And if you call somebody, you can have them come pick you up.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm not trying to put nobody in jail or nothing like that. All right? You're going to, this is your baby. So, huh?
Okay, normally when people are arrested for being drunk in whatever form, they sit in jail overnight until they're sober in the morning and then they can be picked up. Let's see if that will apply to this guy, but we already know they didn't even take his phone or all the stuff out of his pockets or search him before putting him in their car. So again, he's being treated very differently than most suspects. As much as these officers are trying to do their job and they're trying to do things right, they're still not treating him the way they would treat anybody else, which is not okay because he is the same as everybody else right now. He's not the sheriff right now. He's just a drunk asshole.
All right, here's your copy. You want to follow along with it? All right. All right, let's start reading.
You're now under arrest for OVI, operating a vehicle under the influence of a drug or a combination of them, operating a vehicle under the influence of a illicit controlled substance or illicit metabolite of a controlled substance, operating a vehicle.
Hold on a second. Wait till she's done talking so you can hear everything clear.
I was trying to start, okay?
Yeah, start her.
You're under arrest for OVI, operating a vehicle under the influence of drug or combination of. Yes, sir. Operating a vehicle under the influence of a illicit controlled substance or illicit metabolite of a controlled substance. You have to pay a fee to have the privileges reinstated.
Amazing.
If you have a prior, if you take any chemical test required by law, your higher driving privileges will be suspended immediately, and you will have to pay a fee to have privileges reinstated. If you take a chemical test, you may have an independent chemical test taken at your own expense.
Okay. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. Run this thing, get it fired up. I'll run through the process and you can refuse when I get there. Obviously, if you refuse the test, your third driver's license will be suspended for a year. You understand that?
We just took a call from.
What's your social security number?
I'll call and get it. Start working on a ride if you want. You got to wait till. All right. Or you take the test?
No.
The breath test. Okay. It refused, yes.
Okay, as expected, he refuses the breathalyzer because, again, he knows. He knows that if there is no actual hardcore evidence of him being drunk, odds are the charges get dismissed. Because very few courts are going to just take an officer's word. Now, granted, he did puke down the side of his truck, and he was seen stumbling and wobbling on the body cam. That might be enough, but probably not. Probably not. Not without having a breathalyzer, blood test, something definitive to say what the alcohol content of his blood is. Odds are the charges go away. He knows that. That is why he is refusing all of this and generally adhering to the rule of keeping your mouth shut once you're arrested, which more people should do. A lot more charges would go away if people could just keep their mouth shut. For the most part, this guy is doing that, other than occasionally taking a shot at these two cops because he still feels like he should be entitled, I guess, to drive drunk because he's the sheriff, or at least that they shouldn't arrest him because he's the sheriff. He's still like acting like all surprised that they're, holding him to the same laws as everybody else when he clearly feels like, they should do him a solid because they wear like the same uniform, so they should let him go out of like that bro code, blue line solidarity crap.
What? Why are you drinking why are you driving after drinking this much? Why am I kidding you? I can't believe you're kidding me, making me in this situation, Matt. You puked all over your car. It smells like alcohol. You can hardly walk.
Don't do this.
Don't be like you're kidding me. I can't believe you put us in this situation.
I feel for the two cops arresting him, especially the guy who's a rookie, because my God, there's going to be some people, like they're from like two different counties. They're from neighboring counties. So like, I imagine that the cops in the county where this guy's a sheriff, they're going to have some feelings about Urbana County arresting their sheriff. So these two officers are definitely, there's no way this goes well for them, even though they're doing everything they're supposed to do. And they're, for the most part, doing their job properly. And they are, at the end of the day, they're just doing their job. They're doing what they have to do. They can't let them go. It's not the 70s or the 80s or the 90s anymore. They can't just let them go. But there's going to be those within even their own department that are going to have a problem with them arresting a sheriff. So they're definitely going to catch backlash for this. Like, both from the sheriff's county and from their own county. There's going to be officers that are going to be pissed at them and voice that. And it's like, it's one of those things that's wrong. It's that gang mentality that a lot of police departments have. They call themselves gangs. Some of them have actual gangs within them. There's been numerous scandals that have come out of actual gangs within police departments. So I feel really bad for these two because there's just no way, there's no good answer for them. There's no way that everything works out for these two. They're gonna go through it for a couple of weeks, if not longer, and I feel bad for them because they're doing the right thing. They shouldn't catch grief for that, but they're going to.
I hit no instead of yes on refuse.
It'll go. Bring everything out.
Yep. Thanks.
She hadn't been drinking tonight, has she?
You're fine. You play
Okay,
Is that a game?
no.
Since you refused the test, obviously you're to be in charge with OVI. I got to do the prints. He's going to print up a ticket as soon as Michelle, is that what you called? As soon as she gets here, we'll get you out of here. So come on with me.
Okay, so he is getting more special treatment in that I'm assuming it's his wife he just called, but we also don't know if she has been drinking this evening. They weren't together, so it's possible she's completely sober, but he didn't answer. And he's being allowed to be released immediately. Again, how many times have we seen that? Never. Because they make people sit in a cell for 6 to 8 hours till they're sober and then let them go. They don't let people go who are still stumble down drunk like this guy is.
Before we go upstairs, you got to use the restroom or anything? You're good. I'll follow you. Hold on.
I'll follow you. Don't think it ain't coming.
What's that?
Don't think it ain't coming.
What'd you say?
You're amazing.
And seriously, how many times have we seen cops say they don't let anyone walk behind them? Let alone on a staircase. Now granted, there were two cops, so they were able to sandwich the guy between them, but still. How many times would they have any other suspect? Also, the guy's walking around with no cuffs on, which again, we never see that. They normally do not let people just have no cuffs on in the station, especially when they're taking them to a jail cell or something. They will put the cuffs back on if they took them off for a reason, but they will never let anybody walk behind them. So, they just, yeah. The guy is not being treated like everybody else, and that bothers me a lot.
Made a phone call?
Not right now. Let's get this done first.
Cute.
All right, come around here.
For what?
For your fingerprints?
For what?
Because
have to
you're
do that. We're gonna get
arrested.
you arrest.
I'll refuse that.
You can't.
Use that.
Okay.
No, you can't, you dumbass. See, this guy is still thinking he's above this. He's still thinking he can bully his way out of this. I can only imagine what a disgusting cop this guy is. There's no way that he wasn't a bully and has done things he shouldn't have done if this is how he's acting. The level of entitlement and attitude. And no, you cannot refuse fingerprinting or mugshot or anything like that. You are under arrest. You're under arrest. You get treated like everybody else. They're already giving him special treatment and deferring to him and like letting him get away with stuff they would not let another suspect get away with and releasing him when they shouldn't be. But now he's arguing with them over fingerprints. What would they do to anybody else? They would A, have a lot more of a demanding, aggressive tone, and B, they would make it very clear your ass is going to sit in a cell until you comply and complete the booking and discharge process. So would you like to give me your fingerprints now, or should I lock your ass in a cell for 4 hours and then come back and see if you're willing to comply then? How many times have we seen that? But this guy wants to play cute and they're letting him. I would have been done the second he said I refuse. I'm like, okay, then you're sitting in a cell until you do it. And I'm not, if he's like, okay, I'll do it. I'm like, no, you refused. You get to sit in a cell for an hour and think about your bullshit. Because I've had enough of your goddamn attitude and your entitlement and you're trying to, like, you know, bully your way out of this. You get to sit there for an hour and think about what you did.
You know, we'll have to put you in jail.
Right there.
Why would you refuse? That's part of the booking process.
I haven't done anything, Sean. You know,
You're
I'm
under
Listen,
arrest.
take the data master test. Prove you're not drunk.
Really?
Yeah. You're driving all over the roadway. You stop at a green light.
I have not been that.
You puked all over your car.
No, I did not. I have not puked on my car. Somebody else puked on my car.
I was just about to say, is he going to say somebody else puked on his car? But again, in a courtroom, prove it. Prove that is his vomit on the side of the car. You can get DNA from vomit most of the time. But unless they do, which they're not going to, ever, yeah, he can go to court and say, hey, somebody else puked on my truck when I came out of the restaurant or the bar or wherever I was. Shocked to see, Your Honor, somebody else had puked all over my truck. And the courts cannot believe him, but prove it. You have to prove it. So what he's doing is he's setting up reasonable doubt. And, like, as much as this guy is very drunk, he also, on some level, is aware of what he's doing. Like, because he's still playing for time. He's still making excuses. He's thinking, like, down the road, because he knows, again, the guy's been a sheriff for 25 years. He knows how it goes. He's probably seen hundreds of DUI cases, if not thousands. He knows how they go once they hit a courtroom. If you don't have fields, you don't have breathalyzer, you know, the crazy excuses people will make for things that even if the courts don't really believe them, unless the cops can prove otherwise, the courts have to accept the defense. That's what he's playing for here.
Okay. Someone else puked on your car. Okay. So why are you driving so horribly?
Why am I not driving wet?
Horribly.
I'm not.
Okay. Then why don't you just take the test and prove I'm wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you gonna fight with me?
I don't want to fight with you.
No, you want to argue with me because of everybody else.
Because everybody else what?
No, really.
I don't care about politics.
Election. Yes, you do.
Give a you see me jumping up and down on the election stuff?
No.
Give a less
I don't
about
care
that.
about it either.
Matthew reveals he lost re-election for county sheriff earlier that year. Though the primary
Oh.
vote took place 9 months prior in March, the transfer of office does not occur until January 5th, less than 2 weeks after this incident. Matthew was elected county sheriff the last 2 terms for a total of 8 years. In the March 2024 Republican primaries, Matthew lost the election by just 9 votes.
Whoa!
Giving Burrows the victory and effectively removing Matthew from his position come January next year. Though Matthew only narrowly lost, his alleged questionable practices may reflect the public's growing frustration behind his leadership.
Okay, let's break that down. I'd forgotten that in America, sheriffs are often elected. Again, this is something we don't have in Canada. It makes no sense here. It's absurd that you vote for the guy who's going to be the top cop. That's insane. I'm sorry, America, but this is an area where you're completely fucking whacked. It's utterly absurd that you vote for that position, because anytime you're voting for something, it becomes a popularity contest. Now, as I said, I called out this guy being questionable as a cop, did I not? And they're saying, yeah, there were some questions about his leadership, especially if he's going to act like this. But he'd been sheriff for, I think they said 8 years, and he lost by 9 votes. Oh, now granted, very small county, and like not a lot of people are going to vote for sheriff anyway. Most of the people voting are going to be cops. So it's like that's got to burn to lose by 9 votes. Like seriously, I feel for him on that one. But also, how in the hell are you then allowed to be sheriff for 9 months, almost 10? Why is there that much of a gap between you got voted out and you actually have to leave the position? Like it's already weird that in America the president gets, like, when the president gets either voted out or comes to the end of a second term, there's a 3-month gap between new guy getting elected and new guy taking office, leaving on occasion, if it is a one-term president, a guy who just got voted out and denied a second term and is going to be bitched off about it with 3 months to screw things up before the new guy comes in and has to waste the first year or two of his term trying to fix what the last guy did. Like, here, when the prime minister is voted out, they're out. Like, they're out that day. The new guy immediately comes into power. We don't have a transition period like that because it's ridiculous and it's a recipe for failure. But I cannot imagine as sheriff having 10 months where you know you have lost your job, because I don't know if he can like be demoted and go back to just being a regular cop after being sheriff. I don't think so. I think excuse me. I think that means he's just out of a job. And so, like, what is he going to be like, act like for those 10 months when he's lost his job? He's being replaced by, and in this case, it was political. It was Republican versus Democrat, which again is super weird that your politics would ever come into it for a position like sheriff, because your politics should have nothing to do with it. It should be who's the best, like, lawman, who knows the most about the law, who's the most experienced, who's the most like fair and judicial. It shouldn't have anything to do with politics, but of course it does, because America. And so what do you think this guy is going to be like for 10 months? And here's a perfect example. Do we think if he hadn't been voted out, he'd be drunk and driving around the middle of the night? I mean, maybe he would. Maybe he's done this for years and gotten away with it. Who knows? But just leaving those possibilities is so crazy. How do you do that?
Case, notably occurring after the primary election, involves Matthew arresting St. Paris Police Chief Eric Smith at the Champaign County Fair in August of 2024, making Matthew the second known officer arrest in the county in a matter of roughly 4 months. Off-duty, out of uniform, and out of jurisdiction, Eric was arrested by Matthew at a privately run county fair for trespassing and obstruction after refusing multiple times to store his handgun in compliance with the fair's no-gun policy. The charges were later dropped, likely due to Ohio's House Bill 228, which permits officers to open carry if their badge is displayed, something Eric had, despite being casually dressed. St. Paris, which hired Eric as police chief in 2021, placed him on paid leave after the fair incident and eventually disbanded the entire department. Mayor Susan Prince cited finances and officer retention as their reasons, and cited 5 officers had quit within 7 months, leaving only Eric, who spent at least 2 months on paid leave as the village's sole officer. When asked by constituents who they could rely on for law enforcement, the mayor informed they would utilize the county sheriff's office led by Matthew himself, as the village had been compelled to do since the St. Paris Police Department was understaffed. Eric was formally laid off on December 17th after the disbandment, which happens to be the same night Urbana officers arrested Matthew for driving under the influence.
He's celebrating. He's celebrating. That's why he's drunk. He's celebrating a victory. He took out the competition. Also, how do you have a situation where you have only one cop who is on leave? Now, granted, the guy they hired or elected or whatever appears to be terrible, because he had 5 officers quit like immediately, leaving nobody. So he sucks. And then the thing over the gun, but I guess this guy arrested him. I don't know if maybe like in this guy's head right now, maybe he's thinking this is retaliatory, even though it's not and it's a different county. But I think he was out celebrating. I think he was partying it up, going like, "I beat the other guy. They disbanded their entire department." It also means that village is like has no police, so they have to call police from like further away now. From this guy's county, they said now he gets to be. I guess he was thinking, well, now I get to be like sheriff of both places because they no longer have a police department, so now we're covering that territory. So I guess it expands his authority. So yeah, I think he was out partying. I think he was celebrating. And that's why he's drunk off his ass.
You're gonna go home. I told you that.
Okay.
Glad you gotta take your fingerprints.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
Yeah. You don't. You and I both know you don't. I'm standing here perfectly normal with you. You and I. So.
Stop humoring the drunken asshole. I don't care he's a sheriff. I'm over it. Dude, let me take your fingerprints or your ass is sitting in a cell till the morning. You got 3 seconds to decide. Again, they would treat no other suspect like this ever.
Yeah, you.
What?
I'm standing here with you.
I understand you're standing here with me.
Okay?
I gotta take your fingerprints, man.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fight you. I'm not gonna freaking roll around on the ground with you. Get your fingerprints.
Let me go home.
So you're refusing to get fingerprints?
Yeah.
Without resisting arrest? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not resisting.
Yes, you are.
Come on, man.
Refusing to fingerprint likely wouldn't result in a resisting charge, but it could lead to obstructing justice. In this case, it can be argued that Matthew's intimidation is preventing the sergeant from performing his duty to assist in the investigation.
And here it is. Here it is. Yes, the sheriff is blatantly abusing his authority, and if this is the rookie with him or the other guy, it doesn't matter, it works both ways. Yeah, they're being intimidated by him right now, and they shouldn't be. Like, their grade is going down for the officers, because, I'm sorry, they should not be putting up with this bullshit. And we both know they wouldn't from anybody else. They would never tolerate this. They would say, it's part of the process, you're getting fingerprinted, or you can sit in a cell till you figure that out. It is not optional. You do not have the right to refuse. Everybody has to go through this. But I swear to God, if they let him walk without fingerprinting him, I want the two of them disciplined. I don't care how good they've been up to this point. You cannot let somebody skip something like that just because they're threatening to call your boss or they're a fellow cop or whatever. It doesn't matter. He's not a fellow cop right now. He's a drunk driver right now. He's nobody right now. And that's how they need to treat him.
They ain't gonna answer the phone right now. It's 1 in the morning, man.
You're silly.
Huh?
Because you guys are being silly.
Why'd you call somebody for a ride home? I would have gave you a damn ride home. You don't live that far outside of town.
Why are you being silly then?
Come on, come back here.
Where?
We gotta go to the freaking booking room while we wait. I'm just gonna put you in the interview room.
Here.
Okay, so they're letting him skip being fingerprinted. That's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. They would not allow that from anybody else. They would force them, they would physically force them to give their fingerprints, or they'd let them sit in a cell till they sobered up and decided to comply. They would not let anybody else skip that. No way in hell, and we all know it. And they're going to put him in an interview room to wait instead of putting him in a cell? Fucking bullshit. Fucking absolute bullshit. Their grade is going way down because, I'm sorry, you don't treat him special. He's not special. Just because he's loud and intimidating and being a bully, you shouldn't give in to that crap. You wouldn't with anybody else.
I understand that. We gotta get your tickets and stuff typed up. Okay?
Give me a ticket while I walk perfectly normal.
Just have a seat here till we get the...
After officers leave Matthew, just over 10 minutes goes by before body cam footage returns.
And then your citation is going to be for operating a vehicle under the influence of alcohol. All right. So your court date's going to be Friday morning at
That's it.
9 a.m. Yes. Just one more. We're not trying to hem you up on all kind of crap, man. So
Actually, you should be hemming him up on a lot more crap because did we ever establish where his gun is? Is it in the truck? Because riding around with a loaded gun while drunk is a serious offense, especially for a cop. They never got a clear answer on where his gun is. And I bet you anything it's in that truck.
all right.
Cute.
So all right. So it's in violation of 333.01A, the of the codified ordinance of Indiana.
You're beautiful.
Your court date is, like I said, Friday morning, 9 a.m. You have any questions about that?
What's the phone number for you, sir?
Any questions about any of this? Let's get you out of here. 19. We're outside, releasing him.
And so they just let it go with no phone number. Again, who else would they do that for? And obviously, you're the sheriff, dude. You have a fucking phone. Give me the damn number or you're sitting in a cell until you do. But no, again, this guy just gets to ignore whatever rules of, being processed that he wants. No fingerprints, no phone number, no sitting in a cell till he's sober. Like, utterly absurd that he's getting away with this.
Two banger, great.
Two banger. How was that? Huh? Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Have a good night.
Matthew faces one charge of operating a vehicle under the influence, a first-degree misdemeanor, and has pled not guilty. He was released on a recognizance bond with a 1-year driving suspension under implied consent laws, meaning he cannot drive until at least December 20th, 2025. The original prosecutor for the case recused himself, likely due to conflict of interest, and a special prosecutor was assigned instead. The case is still pending trial, during which time Sergeant Sean retired from the force after working in Urbana for 25 years. Matthew faces up to 6 months in jail, fines up to $1,075, and a license suspension of up to 3 years, though he may be allowed to drive with an ignition interlock device. If caught driving on a suspended license, he must serve 3 days in jail, at least 1 month of house arrest, and could face up to 6 months of confinement, up to $1,000 in fines, a 30-day vehicle impound, and an additional 1-year license suspension.
Okay, so several things go wrong in this one. He should not have been allowed to refuse fingerprinting, giving a phone number, and he should not have been released so quickly. And they didn't even verify that the person picking him up was sober. They never established where his gun was. He should have been charged with a lot more than just driving under the influence. And we both know if he's anybody else, if he's not a sheriff, he's getting hit with resisting arrest. He's getting hit with obstruction. Whatever, probably second obstruction for refusing fingerprinting, resisting without violence. Like, his truck would have absolutely been towed. And you can bet, yes, they would have established where the gun is, because that's a very serious charge that he probably should be facing. As for his license being suspended for 1 year, again, any decent lawyer can file a motion to get that lifted, and without any evidence of him being drunk, probably going to be granted. The fact that he was allowed to retire from the department is to be expected. At least he didn't stay in and try to fight it out. I mean, he's got 25 years. That means he's probably got a really good pension coming. And after 25 years, yeah, hang up your hat, retire, move into a security job, get hired by Black Castle or whatever. I'm sure he's doing just fine. And I'm sure he's still pissed off about this. As for the title, corrupt sheriff promises to destroy cop's career. I didn't hear him making threats. I mean, he did the "I can call your boss" thing a couple times, but I didn't hear him making threats saying, like, this is going to be the last day you're a cop. I'm going to see you lose your badge. We get like ordinary people doing that all the time, telling cops you're going to be fired. I'm going to sue you. He didn't do any of that. So the title is misleading. However, as for him being corrupt sheriff, yeah, he is. He absolutely is. And it sounds like he has been for a long time, and not just over this drunk driving incident. Like, he got voted out. And it sounds like there were questions of corruption involved there, and that's why he lost. But he did not get treated like everybody else. So as much as those officers did treat him the way I wish they would treat everybody, well, they even were a little too lenient for me, I'll say that. But I wish they had that attitude a lot more and were, more of a like work together attitude as opposed to, any suspect is a nail and they're the hammer, bam, which is the usual response. Because they let this guy screw around on the side of the road way too much. They let him make way too many phone calls. They released him when they shouldn't have. They should have kept him until he was sober. They could have filed another 4, maybe 5 charges on him and didn't, which again, anybody else, they would have absolutely stacked up those charges, no question. So I do not like that he got clearly special treatment. So I'm giving both officers a C minus, because on the one hand, they acted in the way I wish more cops would. On the other hand, they gave him special treatment and let him ignore parts of the booking process and, released him early. So not good. Not good. You cannot ride that line like splitting hairs on whether he gets special treatment or not. He got special treatment he shouldn't have, and that's that. They shouldn't have done it. They should have treated him like everybody else. And if they had, he would have been sitting in a jail cell till he gave fingerprints and a phone number. But at least he is now out of office. Hopefully the guy who replaced him is better. And I would imagine the charges end up being dropped. I would imagine that's the trade-off for him retiring voluntarily and not fighting it out is, we'll wait until the local dust storm and the media settles down, and we'll just quietly dismiss the charges in like 6 months. That's most likely what's going to happen. Okay, but those are my thoughts on it. What are yours? If you're new here, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're not new here, please comment, especially on this one. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the drunk sheriff, the whole election thing, and especially on the officers arresting him? How do you think they handled it? Do you agree, disagree? How would you have handled it? Until the next one, I've been Insane Lane, as well as a Canadian girl. Love yourself and love on a fur baby. Bye.